Okay, everybody, welcome back. Happy Thursday. We're talking about infinite experiences, physical experiences. Let's put it together. Let's close the week. When you're able to see yourself as a spiritual being in a physical world, and when you're able to connect or begin the process of trying to connect to the infinite, not as a provider of physicality, but actually as the connection of the spiritual. You are connecting to you. You're a piece of the divine, right? The when you plug something into the wall, you're not giving the device something that it needs. You're connecting it, so to speak, to its source. You're coming back. You're connecting deeper. And in that connection that you have with the divine, as the small little, the plug connects the larger infinite generator, the flow grows and continues. And when the flow of spirituality grows, the physical blessings come. But it's not meant for God to be Amazon.God, right? It's meant for you and I to be looking and saying, this world can't ever really satisfy me. So what? I ate that thing. I'm still hungry a day later. So what? I engaged in that thing. I'm still in desire of it 2 days later. So what? I had that experience, right? And we spoke about this, the low, if you will, of the day after your favorite team wins the championships. Like, we had this conversation for sure. That feeling of building up an entire, if you're that type of fan, I was when I was much younger, to be honest. I don't have that much. I wasn't like when I was a kid. Preseason, the season, talking about the whole season, the whole year, the postseason, the nail biting, I can't think. Will they win? Won't they win? They're up 2-1. They got to win the series. I can't believe it's 3-2, right? And then finally the Super Bowl. Finally the World Series. Finally. Hayes has room. Hayes makes the catch. The Yankees win. The Yankees win. And the joy and the jubilation of the Yankees beating the Braves. I don't know if you remember that. The Giants beating the Patriots. Right? That feeling. And then the next day comes and there's a void that you realize that it's just a finite thing. It wasn't depth. It wasn't real. And there's a void until the next preseason. Right? When you go through your life and realize that the physical things that I have, they're enjoyable at the moment, but as soon as they're done, they leave me empty. That experience is supposed to lead to a spiritual wanting. And the spiritual wanting is to look into this world and say, hey, this world's great, and I want physical things. I want blessing. I want to eat well, and I want to be comfortable, and I want to connect. Of course, supposed to, but I can't make that the essence of who I am. I can't let that be all I desire. I can't have my life be all I desire is financial success, because at some point it doesn't feel good to spend the money. Which is why people, when they get older, the mega wealthy have to give it back, because having it doesn't feel good enough. So maybe if I gave it away, that will feel good. In that process, we start creating a spiritual wanting. Now, if you weren't given too much of a framework in which God was always disappointed in you, and everything you do is relatively meaningless, but you just did it to kiss up to some visible man in the sky that gave you a physical, then maybe there's an openness to, hey, wait a second, what's going on here? What is it about my life? What is existence? Why am I here? What's the point? What feels amazing? Why does giving feel better than taking? Why does volunteering feel better than... What does it happen for? What did that feeling I have when I went to that holy place? You start to realize that I am something. I am a spiritual entity, and what gives me the deepest satisfaction is the connection to spiritual. It's not the negation of physical, it is the elevation of physical and spiritual. It is the unification of spirituality into the whole world. When I'm connected spiritually, then my physical world feels so much better. When I eat in a spiritual sense, the food tastes better because it's not just the way it tastes on my taste buds, it's the way it tastes in my connection to my soul. When I'm connected to my wife or to my friends, or when I'm connected to the people around me spiritually, the relationship feels better. How come? Where's it from? There's a connection point, and when you strive to connect to the great source, to the nuclear reactor, if you will, that opens up channels of greater and greater connection, of greater and greater spirituality. Your soul, which is a ray of divineness, only increases, only has more rays, only has more connection. You've taken that lahavdil, that iPhone that is living on battery power, and you plugged it into the wall, and immediately the thing just pops up and it functions differently. Every once in a while when the iPhone tells me there's an update that you need. You ever have this? There's an update that you need, but you got to be connected to the power. I'm like, that's spirituality. I can't change myself disconnected. I can get through it, and every few seconds it saves energy. You ever feel that way? That you're just an iPhone that's on like the yellow 10% bar, you know? I can do a little bit, then I'm exhausted. I can do a little bit, then I'm exhausted. I'm constantly at 50 things open. You have 50 things open at the same time, right? You're scrolling at the surface. You're always saving a little bit of energy, and by the after a little bit, you just drop. But when you're connected to the source, you get to get off that yellow bar. You don't have to worry about it turning off, and you get to update in whatever it is. You're the greatest version of yourself. As you strive for that, as you strive for that depth, as you strive for that connection, as you try to understand what is behind some of the things that are spiritual, and you connect at a deeper level, then the people around you are different. You're not threatened as much. You're not insecure as much. You're not racing the physical war. The person next to you has a little bit more, doesn't become your enemy. The person who insults you doesn't become that competitor, because you're not fighting anybody. You're not racing anybody. You're not in competition with anybody. All you're doing is trying to accomplish your mission in this world. All you're doing is trying to bring out your divineness into the world. And when somebody doesn't like something, it's instructive. You see this, right? When you see an adult, when a parent is trying to discipline a child, and the kid's like, I hate you, or you're the worst, the parent, I hope, is not offended by the 3-year-old who just wants to stay up for 5 more minutes, or the 8-year-old, or whatever it is, or the 15-year-old. He or she understands that it's not personal. I'm above it. I don't descend into the world of 8-year-olds and now feel like I am offended by the opinion of what the little kids think when I'm trying to navigate them. I'm an adult. When a soul dominates your life, you don't descend into the intricacies and the little, in Yiddish it's called the Narishkeit, of the physicalness. Who cares? You're on a mission. You got stuff to do. You're a soul. You're connecting to depth. You're trying to bring light into the world. You're trying to become the greatest version of yourself. You're too busy doing good stuff. The person next to you who disagrees with you, you're just trying to bring out their light. So they look different or talk different. Okay, let me understand you. You're in my world because I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to connect to more. Your soul and my soul. I'm trying to expand. How do you see the world? What do you think? Let me consider it. It's not like you're not like me, you're out. You hear sometimes the rhetoric. If you don't think like me, you don't talk like me. It's craziness. It's a physical world gone mad. There's this, you know that if you ever look at the Talmud as to what's going on, they fight over everything. You ever read a page of Talmud? I don't think I can't imagine there's 2 pages in Talmud where they're like, we think the law is this, and everybody agrees. There's always someone that doesn't agree. And yet, you never see, like, bickering. One of the two greatest opponents, if you will, is a man named Hillel and a man named Shammai. They fought over everything. Their kids married each other. They respected each other. Because it's not personal. We're trying to find truth. We're trying to grow our souls. I'm not saying it's perfect always in every area. There's plenty of people in each group that don't have this, but I'm just creating an ideal so that we can strive for it. Okay. All right, everybody. Have an awesome weekend. Think about this. Try to look out the world. And when you look out the world, try to look at it from the vision of the perspective of a soul. All right. Have a great weekend. Shabbat shalom. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Living on a lifeline. The world doesn't ever seem to change. Looking for the sunshine, but you're caught up in the rain. It's like your eyes are wide open, but you cannot see. You're watching life pass you by like 1, 2, 3. Walking in destruction. The winds of life blur your vision. All the devastation forever feels like you're on the run. It's time. No one else can set you free. You're locked inside.